The deadline to make a deal to avoid that shutdown is April 28th. That might sound like we got lots of time, but we don't, because last week's healthcare mess has thrown an enormous monkey wrench into the congressional calendar. Can lawmakers beat the buzzer? Well, let's bring in my spearmint-flavored party panel tonight. It's Greg Gutfeld Show correspondent and Fox News contributor Kat Timpf, Red Eye co-host Andy Levy, also on the Fox News channel, and National Review editor of The World, Rich Lowrey, is back. Welcome, everyone.
Hi there.
Thank you.
In this big looming budget crisis, who holds the cards?
Well, unless Republicans are united, Democrats do, and they're not.
Yeah.
And the problem with the border walls, Mexico's not going to pay for it, the U.S. is not going to pay for it, so that's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, and you also have a number of Republicans, like I pointed out, Lindsey Graham, who would much rather take the $40–50 billion it's going to take to actually build the wall and funnel it toward the military.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good thing. I support both the wall and the military, or at least some walling.
We don't need all of it, Rich.
Sure we can.
That's the thing, but see, that's when Republicans sound like statist, big government Democrats. I want to spend money on everything. Let's not cut entitlements. Let's increase military spending and have a tax cut. How does that math work out?
Military and borders are core responsibilities of our government.
Okay.
Other things are relative luxuries.
So the wall's not going to really solve that, though, because this isn't Camelot. You know, we've got planes and stuff.
Why not a moat?
Right, exactly. Why not? We have planes. He's selling it as something to secure our border, which obviously isn't going to happen. And the whole Mexico paying for it thing. Come on, that was the whole point, was that Mexico was going to pay for it.
He said, mark my words.
Yeah, and you're an idiot if you say otherwise.
Yeah, but he said, mark my words, that I'm the best budget hawk in the world. So how do we consciously uncouple the wall from the April 28th deadline? And can that be done? Can a budget be passed if you take out what Chuck Schumer is calling a poison pill, and now that you need 8 Senate Democrats, they're going to have a say here?
Well, yeah, look, in general, I don't think there will be a government shutdown. The only way I might be wrong about that, I think, is because I think Democrats need a victory that they can call their own right now. The Trump care, or whatever you want to call it, that failed to get out of the House because of Republicans. Gorsuch is going to get confirmed. I think stopping the construction of the wall would give Democrats something to go home to their constituents and say, look, this is what I did. But the thing is, I think, and I think, as Rich sort of said, I think they can find a way to do that without a shutdown, because I think enough Republicans aren't crazy about the wall either.
Yeah.
So I think that's how you consciously uncouple it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there are enough Republicans who don't want the wall right now. They may say that they'll defer it, maybe phase 3 of the wall. How important is a victory right now for this administration?
It's very important. As Andy says, they'll get one on Gorsuch.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. That's an enduring victory. No matter whatever else happens, we'll probably be there for 30 years.
Yeah.
But a government shutdown would be very bad. Defeat on tax reform, which isn't going to be any easier than health care, would be very bad. And if those things happen, the first year looks like a legislative nullity or worse.
What's happening right now with the Republicans, it's kind of like when you argue with someone about where you go to eat, and you argue so long that by the time you're done, the only place that's left is the diner with all the toothless waitresses.
Oh, I love toothless waitresses. We call them smoothies. All right, meantime, President Trump today signed a sweeping new executive order that rolls back many of President Obama's energy regulations. The White House claims the order will help the U.S. Become more energy independent and bring back energy sector jobs in places like coal country. But critics say those jobs are never coming back, and that the order will lead to more pollution and accelerate climate change. So will the order really create jobs? What's really going to happen here, Andy? Are they bringing back the coal miner jobs?
It may save some jobs or bring some jobs back temporarily, but the coal industry is dying regardless of laws or regulations. And the dirty little secret here is also that more and more coal jobs have become mechanized, so you're not even going to bring back all that many jobs. So I think this is one of those feel-good things, and President Trump can stand up there with some coal miners behind him and say, I got your jobs back.
But the coal market has shrunk.
Yeah, and it's
automation has made those jobs kind of obsolete anyway. And the Obama administration, with these regulations, really forced the whole thing to an early grave. So why does the administration hate coal so much? Why did the Obama administration hate coal so much?
They think it's dirty. They think it represents the past.
Yeah.
They think it's contributing to the destruction of the planet. And I just think on a cost-benefit analysis, even if you think global warming is man-made, it makes no sense to lose one job. You know, maybe you're just hurting the coal industry at the margins, but why would you even do that on some far-off bet of getting, 0.1% off of the global temperature 100 years from now? That makes no sense.
Okay, but that's the argument that a lot of people on the left don't want to have. And if you grant them that, yes, there is climate change, yes, it is man-made, how much of the economy, how much of GDP are you willing to sacrifice on a bet that may not pay off?
Right. And what they say is there's no cost to it. You know, you do wind, and that's even better for the economy. But go into these communities and states and tell them.
So in West Virginia, we're going to have a bunch of wind farms?
Right. And this is what Hillary Clinton said, literally. We're just going to put a lot of coal miners out of business. And that is a bad policy. It's not right, and it's not going to help save the planet.
Well, I know someone who's very upset about this, and that person's name is Leonardo DiCaprio. Kat, with all these regulations being rolled back and the earth dying, when will Leo stop crying?
Never. Crying, that's how he made a career for himself, was crying, getting other people to cry. He's probably not going to stop.
Watering the arid land with his actor tears.
I hate people just kind of connecting, rolling back regulations, saying that, well, now this is going to destroy the environment and everyone's going to die. Like, no, it's not. I hate fear-mongering politics in any sense, whether it's foreign policy, whether it's environmental policy. It doesn't really matter. But same thing, like, I completely agree with Andy that you just can't help the way the world's going.
Yeah.
And it's not going in terms of a lot of coal miners keeping all their jobs because of automation and just...
I mean, there's a lot of automation in manufacturing, too, and I guess the big question is, how do you create jobs in a tertiary economy? I mean, where, some of these sectors which employed lots and lots of people, a big percentage of people, for 100+ years.
Right.
How do you,
There's not a lot of butter churners anymore. I mean, jobs just do go away when butter churning becomes
Butter is
automated.
still delicious, though, Andy. Last word.
The thing is, Rich, you brought up what Hillary Clinton did. That was one of the few times in the campaign she was actually honest.
That's true.
Yeah.
And it hurt her, but she was honest and she was actually correct.
Yeah. Rich, bringing back those jobs, shifting jobs, creating jobs. What do you do?
She wanted to do everything she could to put a stake through this industry. But look, how does our economy grow and how do you create more jobs? You make it more productive. And that does mean automation, innovation, and you lose jobs in certain sectors and you pick them up in others. That's been the history for 200 years or more.
All right, well, this panel is not history. I'm going to see them again in just a little bit. But first, it appears the White House is looking to bounce back in a big way from last week's healthcare fiasco, but it could be a very risky strategy. Oh, look at that. Is Donald Trump the first punk rock president, according to former Sex Pistols frontman Johnny Rotten, also known as John Lydon? The answer may be yes. The punk icon and one-time guest of this show told Good Morning Britain that our 45th president shares a lot of the Sex Pistols' anti-establishment qualities. And he went on to say that he and the Donald, quote, could be friends. So should the president get a spiky Mohican hairstyle? The party panel is back. Kat Timpf, Andy Levy, and Rich Lowrey. Andy, I will start with you.
Yeah.
Because I think John Lydon is an attention-seeking blowhard, and I think the only way he can get attention right now is by saying that he likes Donald Trump just to upset people.
Yeah, John Lydon is a brand at this point. Let's just be honest. Look, punk is anarchic. Trump is authoritarian. Punk is anti-corporate. Trump named the head of ExxonMobil his Secretary of State and is a crony capitalist of the highest order. There is absolutely nothing punk rock about Donald Trump. I love when Donald Trump supporters call themselves the new punk rock. It reminds me, there was a time a year or two or 3 or 4 ago, a lot of people on the right started saying, oh, I'm a libertarian. Because for some reason they thought it sounded cooler than being a conservative. And you ask them about what they believe, and you're just like, well, you're not a libertarian.
Yeah.
I never said that, Kennedy.
No. You absolutely,
He knows I did.
You absolutely never did. But
You never compromised yourself on immigration.
But I disagree with this. On the Sex Pistols, as I understand the phenomenon, you probably know more about it than I do, they thrived on controversy and outrage.
Sure.
And getting headlines. And that was a huge element of how Donald Trump got where he is now.
Well, I think the easiest way to upset people, and we saw this in the New York Post article, a writer for the New York Post walked around New York with a Make America Great Again hat just to document the reactions and the outrage from average people he saw throughout the day. There's no way to make people more angry than to do that. And if I were on a college campus right now, I would be chalking pro-Trump stuff. Just for fun.
Right, just for the attention. There really is no better way to get attention. And it's like a family. If you like Trump and someone else likes Trump, you're automatically your friend.
Yeah.
So you outrage one half of people, or more than half maybe, and then everyone else, they're very, very cool with it. But yeah, I agree. Just because Trump is different, there's a Libertarians for Trump movement. There's people who call themselves that. And I think that their idea is that they like to see the, two-party system kind of sort of crashing and burning, even though he did run as a Republican, but he's the anti-libertarian.
Yeah, but those are narco-capitalists who actually don't support Trump. They support utter chaos, and they want the system to collapse to show how absurd it is.
The thing is, you talk about wearing the Trump hat. Yeah, you could walk down the middle of, you could walk into Times Square wearing a Klan hood and robe, and you'd get a lot of attention. Does that make you punk rock? No, it doesn't. It just makes you a jerk.
Yeah.
In my neighborhood, the one in Manhattan, the one piece of Trump paraphernalia I saw was on a little child with his father. And I was like, whoa, that's brave. And he's like, no, it's ironic.
And that person's father is Alanis Morissette. Oddly enough. All right, Rich, Andy, and Kat, thank you guys so much. Glorious. Coming up, one of the stars of Discovery Channel's Yukon Men. He is here. Well, sure, Stan Zurey can survive the severe conditions of the Alaskan wilderness, but can Stan the Man handle people from the outside world? I'm going to touch his face next.